Hello everyone, my name is Cliff and welcome back to my channel. This is Cliff's Dark Gems. And if you're new here, welcome for the first time. And tonight, we're going to do a tag. And it's called the Intimidating TBR Book Tag. So stay tuned. Okay everyone, so this tag was created by, I don't know who the creator is, but if I find out I'll link down below. And I was tagged by John at DisquietandDragons, and we're going to get on with the tag. But before we do that, the other night I had a discussion, I had a nice live chat with NJ from Reading His Life, and one of the audience said something about, started up the topic of editing. And cutting videos, and how much they prefer the video just to be unedited, for you just to stand and just talk, and that's fine. So I thought for this tag, I'm not going to edit it at all, no matter what happens. So let's go for it. Okay, so there are 10 tags. The first tag is a question on its own, the prompt, and it's what book have you been unable to finish? And that has to be House of Leaves by Mark Daniel Iwitsky. I'll put it up here. And it's just that it's so complex, so time consuming if you're going to do it properly. I know that a lot of people have called it a masterpiece, and perhaps it is, and I will pick it up again one day. But for the moment, it's just not a book I actually want to read. There's sort of a story within a story and a story. I haven't prepared this about a house, and I'm going to maybe pick it up one day if I've got the time and if I've got the energy and the patience to read that book. And the second prompt, and actually first before the second prompt, it says, what book have you yet to read because? So all of the remaining questions go under that. What book have you yet to read because you just haven't had the time? Okay, that's going to become a little bit of a surprise to my horror kind of audience. George R.R. Martin, Game of Thrones, and I could actually probably add in there the Wheel of Time series, all those big massive fantasy series that I'm simply not going to read, well, for a while, because I don't have the time, because my channel, and because I'm reading horror and I'm enjoying horror. So that gets these big fantasy books out the way. Now, it's not to say that I absolutely loved Game of Thrones, the series. It's actually very cool. I actually devoured that series, so I probably will devour the book as well. But I'm not going to have the time for that right now. So that's Wheel of Time. And then, number 3, what book have you yet to read because it's a sequel? Now this is an interesting one. I've got 2 here, and I love both these books. I love both of the first books, and the first book was Brian Keene, The Rising, and this was a very original vampire tale. I think I reviewed it beginning of last year, and it's completely original, nothing like you would expect. These vampires, how they act, and the world building, it's very, very different and very awesome. And I want to read the sequel, City of the Dead, and the reason that I haven't read it is because it's a sequel, and I just haven't been reading sequels to horror stories. The other one that I loved was Gone to See the Riverman, and I did a review of that as well, by Christopher Trioni. And the sequel, which I've got on my Kindle, is Along the Rivers of Flesh. I think it's that, Along the Rivers of Flesh, possibly. But for the same reasons, I just haven't read sequels. So that's my answer for that one. And I'm old school, I write everything down. Okay, number 4, it's brand new. So you haven't read it because it's brand new. And as I've explained already on a previous video, I was given a gift by a South African horror author. I think he prefers to be called a South African dark fiction author, but I received some awesome gifts. Dark Celebrations, She Was a Fair Master, and this one really catches my eye, Through the Ravenous Night We Ride. And if I've got time this month, I'm going to read this book, because I've already started Her Heart Beats for Ancient Beasts, and I have to say I'm absolutely loving it. Yeah, I'm only 2 stories in so far. I've just finished a reread of Salem's Lot, which was freaking awesome. Still 5 stars, still just a classic, awesome horror novel by Stephen King. And I'm enjoying it so far. You know, the writing, kind of not straightforward, it just drags you into the story straight away. So he has this gift of getting you into the story, short story, and making you care straight away about what happens. And I've only read the first 2 stories, but they were great. So I'm going to give a full review of this and of all of these to read in the coming months. Yeah, so that is Calvin Demmer, Her Heart Beats for Ancient Beasts. Right, next up, we got, you read a book by the same author and didn't enjoy it. I read a book by Judith Sonnet called No One Rides for Free. It's an extreme horror novella. When I say extreme, it is freaking, yeah, pretty sick. And I've read a lot of extreme stuff lately, and it's just, yeah, it's too much. But this book, called Beast of Burden, also on my Kindle, it's described on Goodreads as a coming-of-age love letter to metal, horror, and friendship. And of course it's extreme. She's an extreme horror author. But I heard that, yeah, No One Rides for Free, just she goes a little bit further than she normally does. So I want to read this, I don't want to read this. If you've read it, let me know in the comments below. If it's different, if you recommend it, please let me know. Right. And then, you're just not in the mood for it. Ha. I got this just for the cover, really, to be honest. That is Cannibals by Guy and Smith. Look at that cover. It's gruesome. Now, I've read a couple of Guy and Smith, but he's very pulpy. He fits the bill of Garb August perfectly. Kind of garbage pulp horror. Bloody, gory. But he's got a particular way of writing. I don't really have to get in the mood. So there's quite a few of these that I need to read still. I've never given any of his books more than 4 stars, mostly 3 stars. But he is fun when you're in the mood. And this is just such a brilliant cover. Cannibals, yeah! Makes off-season kind of tame. Love that. Right. Then, we got, let me do my paperwork here. A book you haven't read because it's humongous. Now this is a bit of a tattered cover, it's hardcover. I've got another one up there. But that is Stephen King, Under the Dome. And I am going to read it. I've heard good things about it. I've heard it's actually really, really good. And size doesn't normally put me off. But I did actually DNF it at about page 100 when I was much younger. But I explained that. But I am going to read it. Sort of as a completionist thing as well. But also because I think I will enjoy it. About this town that gets trapped under this dome. And I think it's like Needful Things. Everyone turns on each other. Town just goes, yeah. But yeah, I'll have to give this a read someday. I think I'm 60 plus books with Stephen King. So I've probably got about 15 left. So yeah, I want to read everything the man has written. It's Under the Dome. Right. Then, because it was a cover by that had bad reviews, not necessarily bad reviews, but a terrible review from my wife who tried to read it and DNF'd it. And this is Sleeping Beauties by Stephen King and Owen King. And yeah, I'm kind of inclined to not pick it up for a while. It's got very mixed reviews on Goodreads and on BookTube. I don't know if the voices are clear enough, or I don't know if there's something wrong with this book. But yeah, maybe one day I'll pick it up and have a decide for myself. Okay, and then, what is the most intimidating book on your TBR? Yeah, that has to be The Girl Next Door by Jack Ketchum. Now, I loved Off Season, but I've just heard things about this book that are kind of frightening and scary and kind of intimidating for me. Apparently it's incredibly challenging. It's very well written, but just the fact that it's about a real world, something that happens, that's absolutely ghastly in the way that Jack Ketchum describes this thing. Yeah, I don't know. I want to read it. Let me know below if I should read it. Yeah, it's about, I think, these two girls that have to stay with their aunt because the parents go away, and the aunt is a psychopath. She has boys and we have the neighborhood kids, and yeah, not going to go there, but it was a real life case. And yeah, just the thought of it traumatizes me to read this book. So yeah, that's it. Okay, then next up, tag some other booktubers, booktube friends I tagged in this video. Oh, okay, yeah, sorry, that wasn't supposed to be there. I didn't think of anyone. I'm so sorry, people. So look, I'm going to add a few names down below. So what I'm going to say is that if you want to do this tag, go for it. You tagged. But I will look for a couple of names and I'll put them in there in the description box. But yeah, this was a fun video. Please leave a comment down in the spaces below what you think. Let me know. Take care of yourselves. Until next time, keep those pages turning, and cheers.